I love carrots, but they can be really hard to grow if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Today I'm going to teach you 10 basic carrot facts that you need to know in order to grow a successful harvest. Hey everyone, Amanda here from Fearless Home Gardening, and today I am going to teach you 10 basic carrot facts that you need to know in order to have a successful harvest. Now maybe you've heard some people say that carrots can be hard to grow. Either they have a hard time getting them to germinate, or they'll have small, tiny carrots, or they have split, bent, quote unquote, ugly carrots. And of course, let's not forget the dreaded carrot fly. Ugh, gross. Stay tuned to the end of the video. That's when I'm going to show you this board trick that I learned from my other fellow YouTube gardeners. It's really cool, it works, and it's almost guaranteed to get your seeds to germinate. Carrot fact number 1, carrots grow best in raised beds or containers. They also need really loose dirt and soil to grow in. If there's rocks in the dirt, or if there's branches or twigs or roots, it's going to turn, it's going to bend, it's not going to push through it. So that's when you get a lot of the quote unquote ugly carrots. And you're not really going to get big, beautiful, straight carrots that way. So I highly recommend growing your carrots in either a raised bed or in containers. Roger and I built this raised bed out of an old bookcase, which works beautifully. The size and depth of the upcycled raised bed was absolutely perfect. Basically all we did, we took the bookshelf that his mom gave us, we laid it down on its side, covered one side of it with chicken wire, and then we flipped the side with the chicken wire down onto the ground. From there we filled it with dirt and it was good to go. And it actually worked out really well. Tip number 2, carrots need to be direct sown, which is to say you need to put the seeds directly into the ground. Do not, please, under any circumstances, buy carrot starts from a garden store. The biggest problem with transplanting any kind of plant is root damage. Carrots are a root. You don't want to run the risk of damaging the root, aka the carrot. So you need to plant them exactly where you want them to grow. Don't start them into something else and then transplant them into the ground. You're just asking for trouble that way. It's just better to just direct sow them. Tip number 3, carrots will only germinate between 40 degrees and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So if it's below 40 degrees, they will not germinate. If it's over 80 degrees, it's way too hot, they don't want to germinate. You want to either grow your carrots in the early spring or in the late summer to early fall.
Tip number 4, carrots are a cool weather crop. While they do love direct sun, they do not like extreme heat. The heat will actually cause the carrots to bolt rather than putting energy into further root production, which is why you need to time the sowing of your carrot seeds very carefully. But I'll go into more detail about that in another video. Now, carrots can actually be stored in the ground up until it freezes. It's like a literal root cellar. Adding a thick layer of mulch can help to store them a little longer as well. Just make sure to get your carrots out of the ground before it freezes solid, or they will be stuck there.
Tip number 5, carrots need 4 to 6 hours of direct sunlight every single day. Don't plant them in the shade, they are not going to grow right. Put them right out in the sun and don't plant them next to anything that's super tall that's going to shadow them out. Okay, so tips number 6 and 7 have a common theme, and that is patience. Carrot seeds can take up to 3 weeks to germinate. You need to be patient, and you also need to keep the seeds damp, but I'll get into that a little bit more in just a second. Tip number 7, again, has to do with patience. Carrots take a long time to grow. They can take anywhere from 70 to 90 days depending on the type of carrot that you're growing. Smaller carrots obviously take less time to mature than larger carrots, but typically anywhere from 70 to 90 days is how long it takes a carrot to fully mature from seed to harvest. Okay, so tip number 8 has to do with fertilizer. You need to use a balanced fertilizer for your carrots. Here's the thing. If you use a fertilizer that has too much nitrogen, nitrogen makes the greens grow. So if you're using a fertilizer that is too high in nitrogen, you're gonna get all greens and no root. By the same token, if you cut out the nitrogen completely, you're not gonna have any greens at all, but you need the greens for photosynthesis, which is what makes the root grow. So again, you need to have a really balanced fertilizer. Okay, so tip number 9, like I said, I'd be back to this. You need to keep the soil damp. Here's the thing, if the seed dries out, it's going to die. If the seed has too much water, it's going to rot. So you need to make sure that the carrot seeds are kept damp, but not soaked. So as a general rule of watering in the garden, seeds need less water more often, where plants need more water less often. Now here's why. As you can see, seeds are really tiny. They're gonna dry out faster. They only need a little bit of water to do what they need to do, but then they're gonna dry out pretty quickly, so you need to water them again. Now on the other hand, plants have a much more complex root system, so they're gonna need more water because the water is going to need to travel down through the dirt to reach all of the roots, not just the top. You don't wanna just water just the top of your dirt. The roots go down, especially in tomatoes. The roots go down pretty deeply, so you wanna make sure that you water deeply, but you don't wanna do that every day or you're gonna get root rot. Okay, so that brings us to fact number 10, companion plants. Leeks and onions make great companion plants for carrots. You can plant them in with each other, you can plant them in the bed next to them. Basically, the smell from the onions helps keep away the carrot flies. Awesome, awesome companion plants together. One more side note, always make sure that you thin out your carrots on a dry day. If you're gonna thin your carrots when it's rainy or when it's damp outside, the smell from the carrots being pulled is going to attract the carrot flies. Another good way, other than just the onions, to keep those things away. So I really hope you guys enjoyed those top 10 carrot facts. Trust me, if you keep all of those in mind before you sow your carrots next year, you will have an awesome harvest. Now that we got those out of the way, let's talk about that board trick that I promised you. But first, I want to get to know you guys a little better. So here's a fun question for you. Let me know in the comments below. How do you like your carrots? Do you like them cooked, sauteed with butter, salt, and pepper? Do you like them raw with ranch or hummus? Maybe you like them cooked in a stew? Or is carrot cake really the only way we'll get you to eat carrot? No judgment. Personally, I just like them shredded up in a salad or maybe dipped in some hummus. So good.
If you've learned something today and you like the content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and then click the notifications bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video and you don't miss a thing. After that, go ahead and leave me a comment. Let's chat. I'd love to get to know you all better. After you leave a comment, go ahead and share this video on social media so that other people who want to know basic carrot facts can learn them as well. In all reality, it does actually help to get these videos into the YouTube algorithm so that more people can enjoy them. Thanks.
Let's get to that board trick.
Step number 1, go ahead and water your soil thoroughly. Give it a nice, good watering. Step number 2, go ahead and direct sow your seeds. Plant them exactly where you want them to grow. Step number 3, now you want to go ahead and saturate the board. Make sure that you get it completely soaked all the way through, water it on both sides. That is going to help maintain the moisture in the soil. Step number 4, go ahead and apply pressure so that there is good contact between the soil and the board. Okay, so that board trick will help increase germination rate by about half the time. Normally, like I said, it takes about 3 weeks for a seed to germinate. In about 11 days, you should start to see seedlings now. Once you do start to see seedlings, remove the board. The seedlings will die without sunlight, so you need to make sure that you check them after about 11 days. If you see the seedlings, take the board off. In case of a harsh rain, you can use the board to protect the seedlings. You can place a rock or a brick at either end of the garden bed, place the board on top of the rocks or the bricks until the storm is over, and then remove the board after the storm. That'll help make sure that the seedlings are protected from a harsh rain. And finally, make sure the board you're using is bare. You don't want to use a board that has either paint or stain on it. You don't want those chemicals from the paint and the stain leaching into your soil.
Okay, and that's all I've got for today. Thanks so much for being here. Welcome to the Fearless Home Gardening channel. My name is Amanda, and don't forget, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, be fearless in life, and be fearless in your garden. Until next time, thanks guys. Bye.